Since the birth of the United States, the purpose of schools was for religious training. This can be seen through the first compulsory school attendance law, enacted in Massachusetts in 1642, designed to ensure children would be able to read and understand the principles of religion. Prior to the Civil War, religion held a prominent place in the school day. Most American public school districts promoted daily readings from the Bible, allowed for teacher-led prayers and hymns in the classroom, and used William McGuffey's The McGuffey Reader to examine biblical passages. Some of the earlier instances in which the Bible began to be excluded from the public school curriculum began in the early 1800s. Although Massachusetts was known to make education synonymous with religion, in 1827 it was the first state to pass legislation that prohibited the teaching of religion in American public schools. The Watertown School Board of Massachusetts prohibited the use of the Bible in their public school curriculum in 1858. Shaping the youth's character was the primary function of common schools in the early 1900s, and with the prohibition of Bible instruction, the primary means of building character was placed in the background. Since the Supreme Court case of Engel v. Vattel in 1962, the United States is witnessing a rise in the interest to reintroduce the Bible into public school curriculum. Ector County Independent School District in Odessa, Texas, has been a primary source for debate over the inclusion of the Bible in their course of study. In March of 2005, Mike Johnson, a member of the National Council on Bible Curriculum in Public Schools, was requested to address the local school board about the possibility of an elective Bible course. In his appeal to the school board, he emphasized the importance of biblical knowledge for cultural literacy, and that it was the foundation and blueprint for our Declaration of Independence, for our Constitution, and our entire educational system. However, 2 years later in 2007, in the case of Moreno v. Ector County School Board, parents of children in the school district argued that the Bible study course promoted certain religions and neglected others. From this case, it was mandatory by the end of the school year in 2008, public schools would no longer be allowed to teach a Bible study course based on materials from the National Council on Bible Curriculum in Public Schools.
Not only did Christians push their beliefs in the educational system, but they also tried to push non-Christian religions out of schools. In order to preserve their beliefs in the educational system, a variety of religious groups had to contend with the Supreme Court. One of the most contentious cases is Pierce v. Society of Sisters, which occurred in 1925. This Supreme Court ruling deemed the Compulsory Education Act of Oregon unconstitutional. This act, which was passed largely due to rampant anti-Catholicism at the time, required students to attend public schools, thus eliminating parochial and Catholic schools. Needless to say, Catholics fought back. Because of Catholic legal intervention, a precedent was set that ensured private schools as valid educational options. Then, in 1943, West Virginia State Board of Ed v. Barnett occurred. Before the Supreme Court case, the West Virginia Board required all students and teachers to salute and pledge allegiance to the flag. This was a problem for Jehovah's Witnesses, who couldn't salute symbols according to their religion. The Supreme Court protected students from having to salute the American flag in this case, instigated by a Jehovah's Witness. Not only did this set a precedent that protected religious individuals, but also any dissenters that had no desire to salute the flag. In 1962, the previously discussed Engel v. Vattel case occurred. Judaic organizations were the ones fighting against the idea of school prayer as it went against their own religion, and again, this would benefit everyone who didn't want to participate. During the 1960 presidential campaign, one of JFK's task forces made a report recommending financial assistance to all public schools. This report was opposed by Catholics on the grounds that it would discriminate against their private schools. Legally, the case was made that because the institutions were religious, they should not be supported. This shows the unique predicament that education and religion, when mixed, brings to an environment. Perhaps the most interesting combination of education and religion lies in the evolution versus creation debate. In the early 20th century, evolution was considered a radical idea. Men like William Jennings Bryan crusaded around the country, and by 1930 had persuaded over 20 state legislatures to consider banning evolution in schools. At least 5 states, including Oklahoma, Tennessee, Arkansas, Florida, and Mississippi, passed restrictive legislation. In 1925, Tennessee biology teacher John Scopes was convicted for teaching evolution to his students. This case, the Scopes monkey trial, brought the evolution versus creationism debate onto a national stage. While Scopes' conviction was later overturned, the ban on evolution remained in Tennessee schools. It wasn't until 1968 that evolutionary bans became unconstitutional under Supreme Court jurisdiction in Epperson v. Arkansas. Evolution's struggle to exist in public schools was again tested in 1981 when Arkansas passed the Balanced Treatment for Creation Science and Evolution Science Act. This mandated that schools give equal priority to evolution and creationism. In McLean v. Arkansas Board of Ed, the court ruled that the Balance Act violated the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment. Creation science became legally defined as religion and therefore became unwelcome in public schools. Today, creationists argue in favor of intelligent design. However, the court ruled in Frailer v. Tangapoa Parish Board of Ed that intelligent design is equivalent to creation science. Modern creationists strongly feel that evolution promotes atheism, but others argue the necessity of evolutionary theory in fields like medicine, agriculture, and biotechnology. The debate over evolution and creationism did not end with William Jennings Bryan and John Scopes. Rather, it persists today to prove the very real presence of religion in public schools.